So we're here to celebrate blogging. It's kind of funny question to ask to you guys because you're already blogging at some capacity, some are doing it a lot and some are new. But actually, why do we blog? It's certainly an extension of our personality. It's not like that people do it for money or they just want to make their 15 minutes of fame. And there are lots of reasons why people should blog. I think I tell you a bit of myself, my story of how I started blogging. In 2003, that time the world was turbulent and the Iraq war has started, and there's this blogger, Salam Parks, from Iraq, who started writing about the war. And I was working in long shifts, and I had deadlines, so I was stuck at office for long. So what to do? And we had fast internet at office, so I started looking at these blogs, and I was quite amazed by it, the passion, and the storytelling of these people. And we see the other side of the news, we see it on the news or in TV. So then I started my blog. And what to write? I wrote about my country. And that time, I saw that, when international news organizations write about South Asia, or especially Bangladesh, they can't find enough topic. They only find like floods, terrorism. There's not other issues there, but there are people living in these places. There are beautiful places. There are passions. There are love. More things to write. And then I started writing, and I started following blogs from other countries from this region. India, I followed many blogs from India, and one of them is Standing. I know Horini. I'm an avid reader of her blog since long. And these sort of things are happening, and were happening. And this is how I think many of you started. You saw someone blogging, and you started writing about it. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is to find your unique thing. Blogging is not about like, you try to create some special thing and then blog about it. It's about yourself. For example, you're traveling and you want to write about it, or there is a skill you have and you want to write about it. Then it's kind of your digital personality. And more thing is that, inside every blog there is a person sitting there. So we get to know that person, and more of the times, there are some kind of stereotyping we do about people. We think about people. For example, Indians think about Pakistanis, or Bangladeshis think about Indians, and so. But there are some stereotypes you find in a lot of the coverage. But unless you meet one person from the other country and talk about it, and you see the thing is totally different, and everyone has their own lives and their own way of thinking. So blogging helps. Okay. So when we talk about social alchemists, I mean, bloggers can be the social alchemists. It's like more like changing the society if you are into it, because as a person, we always try to make a mark in our society. We try to express our opinions. We try to say the right things. And what things? Because we all have learned from our parents and our society, and we try to give the same, and we try to express ourselves. So if we want to make this society better or create a change, I think bloggers can be good alchemists. But for that, we need to find our own voice. We need to, because we need people to listen to us, and how to do it. The only way to do it is if we do what we do passionately, and if we can make them believe that this is us, and this is not, I mean, the agenda is not something like I'm doing a promotion for somebody or something like that. It's more than like we have traveled somewhere and I wrote an honest review about it, and some people found it useful. So this is the way we can make ourselves useful and make known to people. So there's this funny thing about this picture. It's called hashtag activism. So many of us are, in social media, we write like hashtag Gaza or hashtag like I support this. So I'm against domestic abuse. But what is our real effort in it? Most of the time, we only write the hashtags, and that's it. And at the end of the day, we forget. But blogging can be a tool for our activism, and also like whatever we want to do. And bloggers are citizen journalists, and I've seen bloggers taking initiatives of building schools for disadvantages. I've seen in Bangladesh, I tell you a little bit about it. And in 2006, we had this blogging space in Bangla. Because language matters, most of the people are not very conversant in English. So it's true for India also. India has is so diversified in language, 23 national languages, and all, there are so many speakers in those languages, and they can blog in their own languages. So what happened in Bangladesh is that when the Bangla blogging platform was there, in just two years, there are like more than 200,000 bloggers writing there. And I remember like in late 90s, we used to hang around in IRC chat rooms. We were very young and, just spending time there. So during that time, people were hanging around in blogs. They were writing a lot of things and all those mundane things, what I ate in the morning and kind of stuff. But during that time, something happened. There were some social causes, and a child got sick. She had cancer, and they didn't have enough funds. So the bloggers started to raise money. And this is how there can be a network of bloggers doing great things. And you have seen that in other countries, many revolutions happened because of social media, aided by social media. I should not say that by. And so also is there, when you are in brands and when you want to market your products, blogging is a really great tool to do it. And what I tell about is, it's not about just selling products. I mean, why do you do it? I mean, why people sell things? Because they try to make others, happy, and they want to create lives more comfortable, and just add value to the life we are living. So when you want to do it, you want to have that trust of your consumers. And how to have that trust? So blogging can be a tool of instilling that trust into those consumers, that when you can blog about how the product was created, what's the motivation behind it, and it can be any product, whatever else it can be. I mean, then people can attach themselves to that, and they trust you, and then you can market your brand. So there are some tips for new bloggers, so I won't go into that details, but you know that, so it's about more about consistency and pursuance and trying to do, I mean, what you believe is true, you try to do it all over and over. And, you know, there are a lot of things to write. You don't need to pick a specific thing. You just, it has to come from within you, so you don't need to do something different. So it can be your day-to-day affairs, or, you know, it can be a targeted blogging, it can be sharing your skills, your original ideas, or there can be citizen journalism, which is becoming very popular and effective. So you see something wrong in this society and you write about it. So there are certain concerns about that, like privacy and security. So I had to go through some of these issues also, like because I was working with some corporates and also with UNDP. And so you need to be very aware of what you write, and you keep your professionalism. Like whenever there are, you know, you don't write about your work that can hamper the organization, or you don't, when you're writing, you don't actually make offenses against anybody. You know, there are existing laws in the country that can take effect. And there are security matters when there are, your personal things can get leaked or hacked, and also, you know, that can lead to trouble. And there is, of course, the censorship, and you know, there are lots of debates in the society. And on the picture on the right-hand side, I can share an interesting story. Like, blogging is not very much welcome in Bangladesh right now because of a campaign by some of the fundamentalists, because it happened during 2013 when we had this Shahbag protest going on. Bloggers mainly were campaigning to demand capital punishment for those, some of those religious leaders who are part of one party, Jamaat-e Islami, and who had actually committed crimes against humanity during the 1971 Liberation War. So, you know, long time they were in power, and we couldn't get them. We couldn't get them into trial. And then the bloggers fought, and at that time, there were signs that they were going to be let out. You know, if they don't get the capital punishment, which is, although I'm against capital punishment, but it's like the situation was that if they are, they get some like 14 years jail. When the regime changes, then they can get free. So the bloggers were thinking that, okay, this is our chance to demand justice for what they did. And then these, the fundamentalists got back, and they said that the bloggers are atheists and they write blasphemous things. Actually, it's a kind of, some of the bloggers did some writings that can be like questionable, but you don't kind of like say that this is atheist writing or something like that. You know, it's more like you know, hanging somebody before the investigation. So now, for example, these people did it because actually it did matter. So because the bloggers raised such a kind of outcry in the society, and many people knew that what these people are doing, you know, what religious fundamentalism is, and how they are kind of taking on the society and kind of, you know, coming up with all their crazy ideas and also. So, I know, it happened because, blogging matters, and blogging can go to many people. And, if, there are many hours. If you're a good blogger, you can, you can get into all these hours, and you can get recognized. And it's really good that these hours actually inspire many bloggers to go more. And also, like many bloggers, they some of their goal is to write about blogs. So there are many books by bloggers, and some of them, like, if you read Paulo Coelho, he actually puts some of his writings, some of the chapters of his novel in his blog before publishing it. Yeah. So, and one of the things, if you're a blogger, one of the things is that you need to read a lot of blogs. And how to read a lot of blogs is that you read about, you take the help of all these aggregators. Some of them are like services like Feedly, and also BlogAdda. BlogAdda can be it's a good, they highlight a lot of blogs, and they run a lot of campaign to inspire you, and you get to meet a lot of new bloggers. And now I want to talk about Global Voices, with whom I'm associated since 2005. So this is an organization which was incubated in Harvard University. It's a Berkman Center of Internet and Society in 2004, actually. And now it's an online platform of 800 bloggers from all over the world, and also a lot of translators, because our blogs are translated in about 35 languages. And we have the commentary and roundups of aggregation of contents from all over the world, including South Asia. We cover a lot of blogs from South Asia. And actually, we curate content because people don't have time to read so many blogs. So whenever we talk about an issue, so we want to read what was the latest is happening there, and the bloggers give an unique perspective to the situation. The mainstream media has, do their part, but bloggers have, opinions from, and which is, they write from another perspective, which can be more useful for the readers. And these are the countries we cover, so around like 160 countries, and these are the languages we cover. It's about 35 countries, 35 languages. And Global Voices is a trusted source for many journalists, policymakers, and so it is kind of wide read among the international community, and especially some of the mainstream media, they also read us. And so we are also very vocal about internet freedom and the freedom of the citizen journalists. So we are vocal about whatever the censorship and oppression happening around the world. And this year we have celebrated our 10 years. So thank you for listening, and I wish I could be a good speaker as him, but someday, maybe.
The first question was to Rezwan, actually. That's my, I started blogging very recently, and blogging is a passion for me. I was wondering when I heard you speaking there, is that in Bangladesh, blogging is considered as atheism. I was quite surprised that on hearing that, if that is the case, I would say that I am the biggest and the most passionate atheist in the world.
I'm quite impressed by your reaction. I wish more bloggers in Bangladesh can react this way, because it's like, because people are, most bloggers are writing against religious extremism and fundamentalism and religion in politics. So that's why people try to, it's kind of character assassination, and They try to nail someone, try to highlight their bad works, and try to stereotype all bloggers are like this. So we need more people like you to say that, yes, I'm the biggest racist